Hello, everyone, and welcome to Education 422. This is Dr. Allen. First off, hope you've had a great summer. Second, I'm going to try to record this welcome in one take, so there might be some ums and uhs and things like that, but we'll just kind of roll with it. I think that's just the nature of the beast right now. Um, Before we get going, I just want to kind of hammer home a few things. One, again, welcome to 422. This is Social Studies Methods. I would love for us to meet live, but we kind of made the decision, or I made the decision, that we're going to go ahead and put this course online just so we have some consistency in case, things change along the way and such. With that being said, before I even go over the syllabus, I do want to say one thing. I had emailed a lot of you in the spring if you were registered and tried to set up a time. Mondays at 11:30. I'm going to say to 12:30, but I'll probably stay in there as long as needed. I am opening that up for any type of Q&As that you all might have. Those Mondays are not required. I'm not making them required. I'll record or make sure everything that we have is online each week. But if you want to come and ask any questions, if you want to work on your assignments during that time, some of them are discussion oriented ones. And if you want to just come in and ask me the questions related to them and respond to them then between classes, that's fine. I don't care if you bring food or whatever. If you have no concerns, no questions, you are not required to come. I'll email you each week which room we're going to be meeting in. I'm hoping we can get 112. That's the one that's been updated recently and has a little more technology, but if not, we'll probably do 111. I will email that time each week to you, or once we if we get firmly established, I might be able to just reserve one each week. But with that being said, Mondays 11:30 to 12:30, or a little longer if needed. I'll be in a room. If you have any questions, concerns throughout the semester, you are welcome to come in there and do it. We could also meet in the collaborative space, which is the computer lab in Canuti on the bottom floor. I'm assuming most people know what I'm talking about, over by the men's bathroom, actually. We can do some stuff in there. Actually, when we do the unit plans, I don't think that's a bad idea if I could meet with everyone to kind of make sure you understand what we're going to do, because we're going to use a lesson plan maker. But we'll get into that a little later. All right, so here's what this video is going to be today. I just want to go over the syllabus. I've had to tweak the class a little bit in how we would do it live versus how we're going to do it online, which is a natural progression, I think. So with all that being said and my babbling, let's just go ahead and go through the syllabus. I'm not going to go over this line by line, word by word, just kind of hit the major stuff that I think you're all most interested in. Just so you know, my office hours are going to be 8:30 to 11 on Mondays and Wednesdays. And I'm also going to send out a link and have virtual office hours on Tuesdays. They're trying to limit how much each professor is on campus also. I'm primarily going to be down on Mondays and Wednesdays, but I can meet anytime. I'm very flexible. I live very close to campus. It's about a 5-10 minute drive, 10-minute drive. So if we need to meet, just email me and we'll set something up. My office, I actually moved. I don't think I met anyone or stopped by my office in the spring, but just in case you did, I'm now in Canuti 101C. That is the annex over by Dr. Hargrove, Miss Baker. It's Mr. McPherson's old office, if you know who I'm talking about. It's on the opposite side of where Dr. Johnson's office is. So it's 101C. And of course, if you need to reach out to me, email is always the best. This is just kind of the overview of what's going on in the course. I'm not going to read each one of these. One thing I will say, traditionally, there's no placement hours in this class. Sometimes if someone needs to make up hours, we might do some, but usually 370 is where you're going to get your office hours. 370 is where you're going to get your field placement hours. If for some reason you've already had 370 or it's transferring in, we might do some hours in this class. But if you're taking 370, usually with Dr. Tuttle, you're going to get your hours in that way. Usually you're at Washington High School. Of course, that, I'm sure he'll go over it, and I'm sure it's going to be a very unique semester in general with placements and such, but it all works out. All right, those are some of our nuts and bolts as far as our goals here on the class. You are welcome to look at this. The syllabus is posted on Sakai, which we will look at here in a minute. These are our texts. I want to go ahead and show a couple of these I made the decision to get before we went online, and I'm trying to come up with activities that I think will be very interesting, but you should have something that looks like this. Hopefully, of course it doesn't, it's not showing very well with my background. World history-based lessons. This is an inquiry approach to social studies. Also, teaching U.S. history thematically. It's another one. I chose these two books. I changed because this semester I used to do a James Loewen book. I don't know if anyone's familiar with him. I went to these because they're sample lesson plans, and I always think it's a good thing to have lesson plans to look at. I mean, they're things that you might be able to mold, use in the future. You might not use them exactly how they are in there, but it may give you some ideas. I just think it's a good resource. Also, yours may look a little different, but this is a Zeven book. This is kind of our nuts and bolts as far as the methodology itself with social studies. Those are the three primary books. If the cost or anything is, if there's issues with that, just come and see me or email me. We can probably work something out. Also, this is the National Council of Social Studies Standards. I will go ahead and tell you, I'll be referencing this. You'll be talking about this or using it multiple times throughout the semester. You do not need to buy this. There are plenty of PDFs that are on here of this book. Actually, I'm loading them up on Sakai for the next week, so you have a copy if you want it. If you're really dying to have a copy, you can get them pretty cheap on Amazon, but I don't think you need to buy it. So this is the National Council of Social Studies books. So there's 4 things that we're going to kind of be looking at, and a lot of articles, a lot of handouts and such. So with that being said, those are our texts. Course expectations, a lot of this is actually geared to things that are live. Make sure you show up on time. I will say this, make sure you check in daily, log on Sakai, or at least check your email, because I do love to send out announcements, and I will send those announcements to your email. So make sure you're checking in to see what's going on. Late assignments, I do deduct points for late assignments, usually 10 points. If there is an emergency or something that's happened, just fire me an email. We'll make something work. I'm not saying I'm not flexible, but by and large, please try to make sure your assignments are turned in on time. Please don't cheat or plagiarize anything. If you have any issues with that, or if not issues with plagiarism, but issues as how to word something related to lesson plans and all, just let me know. By and large, I mean, I'll be the first to admit with lesson plans, pretty much everything's been done. So it's just kind of molding it into your own. So it's not something that I go out looking for immediately with lesson plans and all, but if you're using something, cite it in your lesson plans. That's basically what I'm trying to say with that. So cell phones, I don't think cell phones are going to be a problem this semester, but just in case, I guess if you're putting up a discussion post, make sure you're not on your cell phone. And if you have any issues or have any accommodations, just let me know. Usually I get a letter, but just in case you want to give me the heads up, that is fine. All right, assignments, and this is probably what most people are most interested in. I am probably going to go back through and do some individual videos and discussions as to what the requirements are with each one of these assignments. Individually. Some, like I said, I've changed some things with this course because it is online. I just didn't think some things that we did live quite transcended to the online environment. It's not saying that this won't be awesome. Actually, it's probably good because it made me freshen up some stuff. But, you know, if there's something that you think's not clicking, just let me know. And, you know, flexibility is going to be the key this semester. So I think on my part and on yours, and I think everything will kind of go smooth if we operate under that slogan, flexibility. So with all that being said, what do you need to do this semester? Well, there will be 5 discussion boards. They'll be located on Sakai. I will show you those here in a few minutes. But the discussion boards will be posted. There'll be 5 of them. They're 20 points each. They are going to revolve around issues within social studies. One thing I like to do when we have classes is talk about difficult topics. How do you approach them? 2 things that I've always noticed that people are interested in social studies methods is how do you teach difficult topics? And 2, where can I get some resources or things to help me in the classroom? Those seem to be two things that people focus on a lot. I think they're two very good things to focus on. So with our discussion board, we're going to look at difficult topics. I will admit the first one's more of a pondering question, but not so much difficult topic. But with that being said, difficult topics, discussion board. The first, I'd say, major assignment that you have is going to be your educational philosophy related to social studies. You've probably done educational philosophy statements before, maybe in 200, 150, whatever. And you can mold that a little bit for this class. I just kind of want to see where you're coming from in terms of why you want to be a social studies teacher, what influenced you, what your interests are. That's it. It's 2 to 3 pages. The directions are posted up on Sakai. That's our first assignment. I'll show you the due date here in a few minutes. Also, the next thing, and it's going to be centered around this, and I will be sending out as we get going in the semester a sign-up sheet. When I selected the thematic U.S. history book, my plan was we could break each thing down in class, together. I can like the book. I think it gives you some good ideas about ways to approach different things, and it uses a lot of documents, which a lot of counties are really big into with the inquiry approach. So with that being said, you are going to be required to do a presentation on and actually look at this, I caught a little mistake right there. You are going to do a presentation on a set of lessons that's in this book. I'm not going to get, like I say, send the sign up sheet out right now because I'd like you to take a look, but there are 7 sections. I believe there are 7 students in this class. Each person is going to select a section. So we have all 7 covered, and they're going to kind of look at various things within it. One thing, there's some things that are guiding there that you might want to consider when you're looking, but I am actually asking you to do a PowerPoint on this or Google Slides or a Nearpod or whatever. And you're going to do each slide related to EdTPA concept. You're going to review the lessons and say whether you think that these lessons kind of meet the EdTPA standards or what you would need to do to make it EdTPA quality. If you don't know what EdTPA is, don't worry, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but it's the summative capstone type activity you have to do in the Department of Education. Thought it'd be a good way to kind of introduce that in this class because one thing we found over the last year or two is 422 is a nice way to kind of start to introduce EdTPA until you take 443, which is with Dr. Johnson. She does an awesome job. You are also going to have to do a filmed teaching presentation. I would probably select something from your unit plan that we're going to talk about here in a minute, but it needs to be at least 10 minutes. I will let you go clear up to 30 minutes because we're filming it. It's not like we have a class that we have to roll through. But you're just going to, it's going to be teaching in a virtual world. It's going to be a little quirky. I'm going to send out some ideas and guidelines for you how to do this. Honestly, I am fine if you do something like this. I want to see your face. I would like the quality where when you're talking, the screen is still. We're hoping to get something called swivels, which would be really great if we could experiment with those in this class. But we'll talk a little more about the film micro teaching a little later, probably in the next week or two. But it's basically, it is what it says. You're going to give me a little short lesson plan, and you're going to teach that content, and I'm just going to score you. Do not freak out about it. It's more, I like it just because it gives me a chance to just see you in action a little bit and how you communicate and your pacing and how much you know about the content. I don't come at these with like knives out, so to speak. So it's just one of those things. Also, I think it's good to get practice filming yourself teaching because it is something you have to do for your EdTPA capstone. This is probably the most time-consuming activity that's in the class. That's your social studies unit or lesson. This is something I've changed a little bit for this class. Because the counties, Washington, Jefferson, Berkeley, social studies has definitely moved to more of an inquiry-based type approach, your DBQs and things like that. A lot of them really want us to stress this. We're going to talk about the National Council of Social Studies. They have something called the C3 model, which is an inquiry-based model, and they have unit plan templates that they have created. We're going to use those. I will be the first to admit, I have never tried them with a class. I think this will be the best class to give it a shot. I'm going to actually reserve the computer lab on a couple of our Mondays. I can actually do it on other days if we need to. And I thought we could even work on them in class a little bit to kind of get it going. I have actually created a couple of my own this summer just to experiment with the program. And it's not too hard once you figure it out. It's pretty cut and dry. There's also templates that they have that are Word that if we really get desperate, I think you can use one of those. It's actually not a bad way to organize things, and it addresses everything such as assessment, your framing questions. We will have to include your standards. That's something we're going to have to add on, things like that. But not a big thing. We'll talk a little more, like I say, about that as the weeks go on. There's actually one night, I'll show you on the schedule. It's about 4 weeks in. We spend most of the lesson is actually on the C3 model and the unit planning itself. Reading quizzes. There's 4 of them. They are all centered around, and your book will look a little different. I know. I believe it's got a little bit of a rainbow type color, but it's the Zeven book. It's the methods book itself. They're all in there. You can use the book. I have due dates for the quizzes. I have actually, though, said that on the Sakai that I'll take them clear up to the 6th of December. So basically what I'm saying is the quizzes are open all semester. I want them done. I want to make sure that you're doing this. Just opening a book. It's actually kind of bizarre looking on the Zoom, but that's all right. We are going to make sure you open this book and you're going to do some quizzes. The quizzes are not long. They have the chapters listed beside the title. I will go back through, I believe, a couple of the questions. I have one prior edition that I think, let me rephrase that. When I created those quizzes many years ago, I had the 3rd edition, and I think I have corrected or pulled out anything that is now not mentioned or is changed in the 4th edition. There was 1 or 2 questions. If you see a question that's a little quirky, just let me know. It might have been one that I missed. Like I say, it should be geared towards, I believe, the 4th edition, but if it's not, don't sweat it. I believe I'm saying that right. Yep, 4th edition. So, all right. The next thing that we're going to do in this class is an inquiry-based lesson on this book. It's World History Lessons. These are more ancient, and they have ancient, medieval. I kind of picked one that had older ones because one thing I've noticed when students go out in the field, they get placed a lot of times in 7th grade. 7th grade in West Virginia. 6th grade in Maryland is usually more of your ancient, medieval type time period. So just having some lessons might be a nice thing. They're basically just lesson analysis. You're going to just go in and you're going to look at it and you're just going to review each lesson. Nothing fancy. I have a template on there. I don't think it'll take you very long. Again, it's probably something you can do if you come to if we come to the meetings and you're just working, we can answer it or look at it. And by the way, if you come to these sessions and have questions about, hey, what do you think about this? I will answer the question or help you along. So again, inquiry based. The template is posted. And I'm going to ask you to do 4 analysis, if you could, throughout the semester. Documentary review research, that's basically, I kind of use that as my final for this class. You're just going to pick a documentary because we use a lot of documentaries in social studies class, and there's a template to review it. Basically, 4 stars, certified fresh, whatever. It's nothing complicated. It's just you pick it and you watch it. I've become a little more flexible with this because obviously most things are either streamed or on YouTube. So the list that I provided is probably a little dated because when I taught, I used these things called DVDs. They're all, you're able to stream them all, but you can definitely pick something if that's not on the list, as long as you get prior approval and do the review. Again, that's not due though until I think I have it set for December 9th. We'll look down at the bottom. Flipgrid discussions. There will be, I believe I have 10 scheduled, 10 Flipgrid discussions within this class. I'm hoping most people know what Flipgrid is. If you do not, it is no big deal. It's pretty simple to use. I'll send out a link each week to a Flipgrid, and it's probably going to either have my face, sorry, or it's going to have a little question. And what you have to do with that Flipgrid is you have to record a response. Since we're not meeting face-to-face, a lot of these are questions that we would talk about in class. Honestly, I was tempted to just make like 20 30, 40 Flipgrids, but I felt like that would just get too complicated and too time consuming, and a lot of things that we talk about in class. So I just want to hit some of the major things. I'm actually going to leave the timer on your response at 5 minutes. You do not need to take up the whole 5 minutes. If you only take up 45 seconds or a minute with your thoughts, that's fine. I just want to make sure everyone has time to say their piece. So what'll happen is I might say, I'll use the first one as an example. I have a Flipgrid up where there's going to be 10 images. You're going to go to a site called Wakelet. And what we would do if we were live is we would actually have a bunch of images, and we would place those images under different National Council of Social Studies standards. It's usually pretty fun. We can't do that this year because we're online, but I've thought of a way we could maybe do it on Flipgrid. So what's happening is you'll see these 10 images. You might have to write them down on a little notepad. You don't have to submit it or anything, but you'll see an image and you're going to say what standards you think it's associated with, and you're just going to record that on your Flipgrid. I am asking that everyone respond to at least 1 or 2 Flipgrids each week. So you're actually having a little bit of a discussion face-to-face. And again, the videos, I'm not asking you to dress up or anything. There'll be weeks. I actually took one off. I have a little bit of hat hair right now. I'm not going to be too picky about, you don't have to look professional on these Flipgrids. If you have a hat on, or you just ran, or whatever, just came in from a rainstorm and you want to record it, that's fine. Just make sure you respond to the discussion and you post on your Flipgrids. The last thing that I'm going to do, and this is actually pretty straightforward, and I don't think this will be a big time-consuming one. I'm going to try to make 10 videos on resources that you can use in the social studies room. Again, this is something I love to do. This was my favorite part of methods when we meet live, is we would bring in resources and we talk about them and see what would work and experiment with them. I'm going to post a video. Most of them will probably be about 2 or 3 minutes, and it's just something on a resource that you could probably use in your classroom or could potentially use, and you're going to write a super quick review. It only needs to be a paragraph, and when I mean paragraph, I mean 4 to 5 sentences. If you want to go longer, that's fine, but it might be a website, it might be a book, it might be different types of charts, it could be any of these things, anything like that. And you're just going to give your review, whether you think you could use it, where you could use it, things like that. I'm not going to be too picky about the blogs. If you don't like the resource, it's not going to offend me because I don't make any money off of these. So if you think it might be something you can use, just say, hey, I might like to experiment with it. If you would like to check it out, because normally I bring a lot of the handouts and posters and such to class, I'll bring a few to our Q&A session too if you want to check them out. But that's the assignment. I know it looks like a good big list, but really I don't think it's going to be too bad. It's just staying on top of things. I think with the discussions, if you come to the Q&A session, you could probably knock a lot of those things out. Or if you've already done them on your own, that's fine. If you want me to check them out, that's fine. The unit plan to me is usually the biggest thing with the class. That's what most people find most time consuming. And like I say, after we do that lecture, we'll look at the schedule in here, but it's usually about the 3rd or 4th week on the unit planning. If you want to just get together and start working on that, I don't think that's a bad idea. It's a short semester. I'm sure well, I don't want to say short, but really we got to get a lot of things done before Thanksgiving I know if you're on campus, you can't come back. So we're online. So I guess I'm kind of lying a little bit. It's not going to affect us too much, but I think we can get it all done. If anything gets overwhelming on any of this, again, just fire me an email. Again, flexibility is the key. Some of these are not the ways that I would normally do this, but I'm kind of excited to see how it works. So I got to thank you for at least being willing to try this. I know you have to take the class, but still being willing to try this. And if you think something's not working or a site's not working or some tech's not working, just email me. It happens. We'll take care of it. Could be a problem on my end. Could be something with the internet connection at campus or such. Powers go out sometimes at your house. I get it. So again, flexibility is the key. I will probably put something up each, to highlight and remind all these assignments as we go on. But discussion board, philosophy, presentation on the United States thematic. That one, like I say, I posted a syllabus or a PowerPoint template for the EdTPA. There's a set of questions you can ask. I don't think it's going to take you too long. I literally want you to go through on that US thematic teaching thing, each slide, look at the questions, just say your answer. related to the lessons that you select. Film micro teaching, again, that's towards the end. So anyway, let's look at the schedule. As you can see, there's discussion boards. There's the due dates for the discussion boards. 7th, 21st, October 12th, 2nd, and 16th of November. Philosophy is due on the 14th. That's the first big one. You'll post that up on Sakai. Thematic reading, again, I'll talk about that a little more as we get going. That's a new approach for how I'm doing that. So that's on the 19th of October. Your micro teaching is due on the 16th. Again, we'll talk a little more about that as the semester progresses. I'm really hoping maybe we can get the swivels. I think it would be kind of cool if you want to film it. I'll be honest, if we have really good turnouts at the Q&A sessions and you would like to do your micro teaching live with our group that's meeting on the Q&As on Mondays, I am totally fine with that if you really don't want to film. If you would rather do it live and not film it, let's do it. Honestly, I would recommend doing that, but I just didn't want to require anyone to come in. So we'll talk about that a little more. Unit plans, C3, reading quizzes. Like I say, there's the due dates, but I am leaving them open till the 6th of December. The analysis for world history lesson plans, they're actually due on the 5th. Documentary review is on the 8th. I said 9th, but it is due on the 8th. And then Flipgrid discussions and the resource blogs will be due weekly. Again, those are, don't go crazy about like stressing out those. One's barely a paragraph and the other one is a 1-minute response. So that's the class in a nutshell. I love this class. I think we'll have a lot of fun. I'm hoping we are going to meet. I will plan on meeting on the 24th. I'll send out a room that we're going to be in, and we'll kind of see if anyone has any questions. This video will be going out before that meeting. I'm hoping to get it posted for you all towards the end of the week. If you get to see this, we'll have a great semester. And there's the outline of the schedules in case you need to see it. The syllabus will be always up on Sakai. And actually, I'm glad I mentioned Sakai because I want to show you something really quick. Hopefully I got it up. Oh, look at that, I do. I'm gonna go into student view. Maybe, there we go. All right, couple of things, and I'm still actually adding stuff up on Sakai, but I think you'll get the nuts and bolts of it. Syllabus will be here. Announcements will always be here. I have not put up any announcements yet, but I will send them to your email also, so you will get them both ways. There are no podcasts, that'll be gone. Resources, I have a bunch of stuff. Things that I hand out will always be in resources. You are welcome to kind of start experimenting. A lot of the things that I'm talking about that we'll be blogging on will be here. I know, sorry, my computer's getting, fan just turned on, it threw me off there. I know that a lot of this is a little overwhelming because there's a lot of info. It's just things that I've put up over the years. You don't have to go through every one of these, but if you're trying to find something we talked about, I have put it on here and you can kind of look for it. But for example, C3, I mentioned that for lesson planning. There's a bunch of stuff on C3 there. So, assignments are all there. Please submit everything on Sakai. The only thing that you will probably may not be able to would be the micro teaching if your file is too big, if you have to film it. But again, if you decide to do it live during one of our Q&A sessions, that will just solve that whole problem for you. And I will take care of making sure that the grade's up on Sakai. Everything else needs to be put here. I'm still loading up the blogs and such in the Flipgrids, but as you can see, they're there. When you click on the Flipgrid, there should be, yep, there's the links that you need to go to enter the Flipgrid. I actually made a group for us, and there's the link itself. I'll send those out weekly, though, in an announcement. Tests and quizzes are here. As you can see, all 4 are actually ready to go. No time limit. There's your due dates. And I'm going to move this up, probably up where podcast is later this week, but I'm filming this on Sunday, the 16th. This right here is where I will put our weekly stuff. You will see week 1, and from 8:24 to 8:30, anything that's due or we're talking about this week will be within that little tab. And then I've already posted our discussion. Our first one is what the heck is social studies? What you're going to do is you're going to click that, and you're going to actually kind of, there it is, answer some questions related to what you think social studies is. nothing. It's just kind of an icebreaker. We do it when it's live. I thought it'd be kind of fun to do there. It's not really a difficult topic, but it kind of is. Social studies is tricky. Actually, there's going to be a lecture on that here posted next week. But each week I'll put these up. I will take each one down with each week because I think the Sakai site gets cluttered if I leave each week up. But from 8:24 to the 8:30, I will have everything up, and then this will go down. Week 2 will go up, and I'm going to put them up there. But everything you need should be on Sakai. If you have any problems with navigating Sakai, just let me know. So it's kind of a basic course overview. Hope it helps. If you have any questions, please email me, stop by my office, come on Mondays. If everything's going well, I'm totally open to setting up a second date for us to get together. And like I say, those sessions where we're getting together are totally optional. They're just kind of to help you out if you have any questions, concerns, or if you want to work on things. Or if you just want to talk about the topics, that's fine. So with all that being said, welcome to the class. I think it'll be a great semester. I'm just glad to be back doing some stuff. Hopefully you're all ready to get back to whatever normal is, I guess, in this new world. So with all that being said, this is Dr. Allen. I'll catch you all and let's have a great semester.